On the warm-up, for both of these, you had to identify the slope and the y-intercept. And once you did that, you can write the equation of the line. So for the first one, what is the y-intercept? Remember, the y-intercept is that first point along the y-axis. And so as you're looking, the y-axis is right here. So along the y-axis, it's right down there. It's at -3. You can list that either as a point. So that would be 0, -3, or you can just say -3. I'm okay with that. Do it. For the slope, we always read graphs the same way we read books, from left to right. So it's how do you get from this point to that point? Well, you have to go up and over. So when you go up, it's going to be a positive slope, and we go up 3, and then we go to the right 2. So 3 over 2. When we write our equation, they're in slope-intercept form. And we have two parts that we are filling in. We have our slope, which is m. It's always attached to the x. And then the y-intercept goes after. So when we write our equation, we have an x, because it's not a horizontal or vertical line. And then we plug in the pieces. We've got the slope, so that goes in front of the x. And then the y-intercept. So the second one, if you were struggling with these, I'm going to give you a minute. Try the second one now, and then we'll go over it. Okay, I'm wanting you to do the second one so that we can check our answer. Are you wanting to do it? Sure, you can go do it on the board. Okay, make sure you stamp your paper. He is almost right. So up here, you have to go down 5. So it's a -5. So make sure it's -5/4. So close, almost. You're going to turn in your paper. If you knew how to do both of them and they were both correct, you're going to give yourself 100. If you didn't know how to do either one and all you did was copy this down, then give yourself an 80. And you can give yourself a variety of grades between there that you think are fair. So you're going to turn it in and we're going to get started on the worksheet.
No, we draw it like this.
Absolutely.
And I was like,
Benin, can you do me a favor while you are up there and erase this stuff right here? We don't need a calculator, but what I do want you to do right now is put your phones away so that I can't see them. We don't have very many problems that we're gonna do, and if I see your phone, I'm gonna come and take it and put it on the wall. So as soon as you are done with the worksheet, you can have your phone back, but I'd like for you to put them all away right now. A reminder about using the bathroom pass. So again, anybody can use the bathroom pass, but use it to go to the restroom. And when you use it, please make sure that you write your name and the time that you left. So on the front, it says in the XY plane, point B has a coordinate of 8, 6. Sketch a line that goes through the origin and point B, and then we need to write the equation of that line. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go plot that point. So I want you to plot the point on your paper. We've been doing mystery graph after mystery graph to get good at plotting points. So plot it on your paper and then look up and make sure you got the right point. But you go plot that point, 8, 6. So that's where your point should go. So when you're plotting points, X is first and then comes Y. So you have to go left and right and then up and down. So it says that it also goes through the origin. What is the origin? Yeah, it goes through the origin, which just means it also goes through that point right at 0. So if this is a line, I could connect the dots. I'm going to try to connect the dots. So the line would be like that. We need 2 things to write the equation of a line. What are the 2 things? We just did it on the warm-up. Slope and the y-intercept. So can we figure out those 2 things? Yes. So the y-intercept is going to be easy. You need M and B. Where does it cross the y-axis? 0. So that's easy. And then to find the slope, well, we got to figure out like how you get from the left point to the right point. So we got to figure this out. So how far up do I go? And how far to the right? Okay. And it's going up 6. So it's a positive 6. We get 6/8. Does that reduce? Yeah, so let's reduce it. How does that reduce? You can divide them both by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So to write the equation of my line, remember that it's y equals mx plus b. So I get y is equal to my slope, which is 3/4. And then do I have to write plus 0? No. So that's it. The whole rest of the front page is like that. So this is a question that I often see on TSI. And so it's tricky because really you can find the answer choice. You can find the right one by taking the y and dividing it by the x, but they always have it written the other way too. So sometimes it's tricky. So that's all you do for the whole rest of the front page. So now on to the back page. This is always a very challenging question. So up at the top, we're going to do question 6 together. So it says, if an equation of a linear function in the figure is y equals mx plus b, then m is what? So again, what does m stand for? Slope. All we're doing is looking for the slope. Are there any numbers on this graph? I mean, aside from 0. So that's why this is a tricky question. Don't let this question defeat you. I believe y'all can do it. So the same thing that we do every time we figure out slope like that, right? So all we need to do is figure out that distance that we have to go up and the distance that we have to go over, and they're just calling it R and S. The answer is in terms of R and S. So if I go from 0 up to this point, I went a distance and they're calling it a distance of S, which is weird, but that is what they're calling it. So to get from here to here, they're saying that's a distance of S. They're saying that this point is point R. So that means that this distance right here has to be R, whatever that is. So we know that slope is always your rise over your run. And so all you do is you put S over R. That's it. It's weird because there are no numbers, but that is all you do. So your answer is just the slope. And you do the same thing for all of them. Into the next section. So the next section says that function g is defined by, and it gives you this function. G of x is equal to 3 times x plus 8. What is the value of g of 7? That's how you read that, g of 7. So all it's saying that, like, it's usually g of x. So that means that x is equal to 7. So all we're going to do is plug it in. So we will plug it in. We get 3, and then I'm plugging in 7. What's 7 plus 8? Mm-hmm. What is 15 times 3? What's 15 times 2? 30, and then add 15. 45. So G of 7 is 45. And that's how you do all those. You just plug in whatever the value is. We are almost done. There's just one more section, and then I'm going to let you finish up these problems. Everybody got this copy done? The next thing that we're going to talk about is parallel and perpendicular. So parallel lines look like this. They never cross each other, and there's something special about them. So something special about parallel lines is that they have the same slope. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines cross each other at a 90-degree angle, and their slopes are also interesting. They're not the same. We call that the slope is the negative reciprocal. So what does that mean? Reciprocal just means that it's flipped. So if we look at these, one of them is 1/2. If you flipped it upside down, you get 2/1, which is just 2. And you have to make it negative. Or if you go from this one, if it's negative, it's going to turn into a positive. And if it's 2, which is the same thing as 2/1, then it becomes 1/2. So you flip it and you change the sign. So what we do is we flip it and then we change the sign. So for question 10 and 11, it says, write the equation of a line that passes through the point 0, 0 and is perpendicular to the line shown or parallel to the line shown. So I'm going to draw both of those. If we go through 0, 0, that means we have to go through here. But we have to first figure out what the actual slope is for the line that we see. So the line that we see, we go down 3, so it would be a -3. And we go over 6. So the slope is -3/6. Does that reduce to what? 1/2. And it's negative. Yeah, 1/2. So I know that when I go to write my lines, I know that the perpendicular slope has to flip and the sign has to change. So when I make my perpendicular line, the slope has to be, if I flip it, it becomes 2/1 and the sign has to change. So it's negative, it has to be positive, which is the same thing as 2. When I have my parallel line, parallel lines have the same slope. So it will be, oh, not that. -1/2. When I make my parallel line, it has to have the same slope. So if I also go through the origin, which is 0, 0, that's like saying that my B is equal to 0. So when I write my equation for my perpendicular line, the slope is 2. And do I have to write +0? No. When I write the equation for my parallel line, and again, I don't have to write +0. Well, that is an example from every single section. You guys are going to go back through and you're going to finish up all the rest of the problems. And then we're going to grade.